So I'm about to let you in on my Amazon FBA journey, and I want to tell you it is a wild one, but I want to share it with you because I think as an entrepreneur on e-commerce, you have to know this and you have to be aware of the struggle. So my Amazon journey is a little different than what most people would, I don't know, maybe talk about. And that's because it is. So I was fired from my job 3 weeks ago. I'm now a full-time seller on Amazon FBA and eBay. And as well as, it's not conventional, but I built it up for a year. So I built my Amazon business up for an entire year or more to go full-time, and that's what helped me when I was fired. But previously in my life, I grew up in an extremely poor family. My parents didn't have money, and I was taught the thing about you're always gonna have debt, you're always gonna have bills, you are always gonna have to do credit cards or buy a car with a loan. And you know what, that may be true for some people, but you can leverage online selling and you can really make your life better. And what's crazy is I paid off 80% of my debt with Amazon FBA by doing one thing. So I'm starting to get into wholesale, but I also do retail arbitrage. What retail arbitrage is, it's going into places like Ross, Walmart, Target, and all these retail stores and buying clearance and buying full price items and flipping them on Amazon FBA. Let me give you an example. So here's my example. I'm looking at Ross and I'm looking at items that I think I can flip for a profit. So I'm gonna look at just anything I think I can make money on. And like, you know, I'm just gonna look at socks, I'm gonna look at shoes, I'm gonna look at everything, right? And I scan stuff. And what you do is you literally use the Amazon seller app, which is this right here, the Amazon seller app. And you can scan items this simple. You take it off the shelf just like this, you have a barcode on the back and you scan it, and it's going to tell you if the item is good or bad. It's going to give you a rank, which means that's how fast it sells, and it's going to give you a price of what it sells for. So this is selling for $18.88 right now, and the cost on them, cost on these is $7.99. So if they sell for $18.88 and I sell them for $7.99, which a tax is going to be about $8.10, I am going to profit $3.89. Now that is not really my ideal profit, because it's my ideal profit's 50%. So I'm going to keep looking for some items I can sell for a higher profit margin. So a good example would be these paring knives. They're $5.99. They sell for $13.68. You make $3.23, and that's about a 40% profit margin or more. But profit margins can be more than that on Amazon, and people don't really understand that. So I'm going to go over that with you in a second. So what I mean by profit margins and that you can find higher ones is you can find items that are lower cost, higher profit margins on Amazon. It's just harder to find. So, you know, there will be some stuff I sell at 30-40% margins and I'm fine with it. And there's some stuff I sell for 100% margins and I crush it on those items. But you have to put in a lot of work to find those items. I went into that Ross, I looked through the whole store. I didn't film all of it. I found nothing. I found a couple items that sold for 30-40%. You know, I found the knives and I found the socks. Is that going to make you $1 million in sales? No, it's not, because on the big scale, that's why I started doing more wholesale, is if you want to crush it like retail arbitrage, you can buy a lot of items retail arbitrage, and you can sell over $1 million in retail arbitrage, but it's harder. And so for me, like, if you add wholesale into a small percentage of your business, you're getting those items constantly and you can sell more. And also I'm going to add retail arbitrage in, and I'm going to do all this stuff. But there's a lot of items that when I first started on Amazon, I was restricted in. Wait a minute. Amazon doesn't let you sell items? Let me explain that. So when I first started selling on Amazon, I was not allowed to sell hardly anything on there because they restrict you. That's to protect their brand from sellers that sell cheap stuff or bad sellers. And that's what they do. They protect their brand. So you're gonna probably ask me next, well, what did you sell? I'm gonna show you what I sold. All right, so I'm here at Goodwill, and I'm gonna show you what I used to sell when I was restricted and couldn't sell anything. It's really windy out here, and I'm gonna show you what I sold and my strategy on what I did. So what I would do is, I'm here in the book aisle, and I would come here and look at books, and I would use something called Scout IQ that's linked to my Amazon, and it would tell me if the books were bad to sell or good to sell, and it would tell me an e-score, and that's how many times it sold every 6 months. So I would scan all of these completely, every one of them in the entire store, over and over every day. So every weekend and every day I would go to Goodwill or thrift stores and scan books. On the weekend I would go to book sales, and I was sending in 300 to 400 pounds of books a week. My first month selling used books on Amazon, I sold over $3,000, and that was my first month ever. And that's how powerful Amazon can be. So I took all the sales from those books and built it into my business, and within 3 to 4 months I started getting unrestricted on products, so I could do retail arbitrage and find products to sell as well as wholesale. If you sell wholesale, you do get an invoice, so you really don't have to worry that much. I mean, there is a chance you won't get ungated, and what I mean by ungated is unrestricted in that item, but you have a better chance. With retail arbitrage, you can't send the receipt, you can't do stuff like that. And the receipt is good if you get an IP claim, which is intellectual property, or anything like that. You can use the receipt, but other than that, you can't use it to get ungated. So what it took me to do, what that took for me to do is a year of building my Amazon business, so that thing that I was doing on the side became my full-time job, my full-time business. And I think that's super powerful to understand, is you can build a side hustle and make it into a business, and it's powerful. And people that are coherently lazy, they don't want to do this. And I've been selling on eBay and Amazon. I've been selling on eBay for way longer than I've been selling on Amazon. This shit is not easy. It is difficult to do, and it's very hard, but it can be done. And you just got to put in the work, you got to put in the time, and you have to put in the effort to go out and do it. That's literally all it is putting in the effort and the time to learn and the time to find products to sell. Same thing with eBay. You got to find the products, you got to sell them. But with eBay, you have to list the items, you have to actually take pictures, you have to store them in your house. Why I do Amazon FBA is because you buy the items and you send them to the warehouse, and Amazon fulfills them for you, and you don't have to store them. That's the powerful part about it. So this is my work van, and this is the van I bought for Amazon FBA through Amazon Profits. So that's one thing I worked for. But then another thing I worked for is financial freedom and freedom from my job, because I had worked in retail for 10 years. I had several companies that I worked for. Target, I worked for Target, the biggest company, and they eliminated my position. I got into the job I have now, and I was working to strive because I knew I wasn't going to have a job for long because they couldn't afford to pay everybody. And that's when I was fired, and I had already built my business up to take over. And so for me, like, I didn't come from a wealthy family. I didn't come from nothing like that. I was extremely poor. I paid my own way through college and got a bachelor's and an associate's degree. Paid my own way through college, worked hard, and I was taught with the morals of you get a 9-to-5 job and you stick with that 9-to-5 job, and basically you retire from it. And I am changing my life, and I'm changing the aspect of that thought process. So I'm currently in my office, which I need to paint because it was a toy room and now it's my office. And so I need to actually paint it and actually get it ready to be an office. And everything is ready but the paint. But what I want to tell you is anybody can do this with the hard work, but if you're looking to do something for nothing, it's not going to work. Amazon is a grind, it is a hustle, and it is hard. I grew from buying books at Goodwill to Skyping with suppliers in China to buy products wholesale. And that's my journey. That's what I've done. That's what I've accomplished. And I can't say anybody can do it because anybody can't do it. You have to have determination, you have to be hungry, and you have to want to do it. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video.